Hello and welcome to my channel, Celebrity Matrix. Today's video is how Billionaire pretends to be sick to test his family, and he got a tearful surprise. There once lived a very rich man named Mr. Richard Harlow. He was one of the richest men in the world, worth billions of dollars. He owned big houses, fast cars, private jets, and even a small island. But despite all his money, he wasn't happy. Richard had a wife named Clara, 2 sons, Ethan 15 and Liam 12, and a daughter named Maya 17. They lived in a huge mansion with servants, chefs, and guards. Life looked perfect from the outside, but inside, things weren't so great. Richard rarely saw his children. They were always at school or out with friends. His wife was busy running charities and hosting fancy parties. Everyone seemed to care more about money and appearances than spending time together as a family. One day, while sitting alone in his office, Richard thought, what if I died tomorrow? Would my family really miss me? He felt sad just thinking about it. So he came up with a strange idea. He would pretend to be sick, very sick. He would tell everyone he had a serious illness and might not live much longer. Then he could see how his family truly felt about him. The next morning, Richard called a meeting in the living room. His family gathered around him, confused. "I've been to the doctor," he said, looking serious. "I'm very sick. I have heart failure. The doctors say I might only have a few weeks left." Everyone went silent. Clara gasped and covered her mouth. Maya's eyes filled with tears. Ethan stood up quickly. "What? That can't be true." Liam didn't say anything. He just stared at his father, shocked. Over the next few days, life in the mansion changed completely. Maya started spending more time with her dad. She brought him books, played music for him, and talked to him every night. Ethan tried to stay strong, but sometimes Richard caught him crying quietly in the hallway. Liam followed his father everywhere, asking questions like, "Will you be okay, Dad?" Even Clara changed. She stopped going to events and stayed home, making sure Richard ate well and rested. She held his hand and whispered, "We'll get through this together." Richard was surprised. He expected people to act sad at first, and then go back to their lives. But they didn't. They were hurting, really hurting. Then something else happened that touched his heart deeply. One evening, Maya sat down next to him and said, "Dad, do you remember when I got into trouble at school last year? You grounded me for a month." Richard smiled weakly. "Yes, you snuck out to a party." "Well," she continued, "you were strict, but you also told me you loved me even when I messed up. I never forgot that." Ethan walked in and added, "And remember when I broke your favorite car mirror? You were so mad, but later you took me to get ice cream and said mistakes happen." Liam nodded. "You always made us feel safe, even when you were busy." Richard felt tears come to his eyes. These memories, these moments, were more valuable than any amount of money. A week passed, and the whole family had changed. They laughed together, cried together, and shared stories late into the night. For the first time in years, they felt like a real family. But now, Richard had a problem. How could he tell them the truth? He couldn't keep lying forever. He had learned what he wanted to know. His family loved him, even without the money. So one morning, he called another family meeting. Everyone sat around him again, worried. "I need to tell you something," he began. "I'm not really sick." Gasps filled the room. "What do you mean?" Clara asked. "I lied," he admitted. "I wanted to know if you would care if I was dying, so I pretended I was sick." For a moment, no one spoke. "Then, you lied to us," Ethan shouted. "We thought you were dying," Maya cried. Liam looked hurt. "Why would you do that?" Clara stood up. "How could you trick your own family like that?" Richard lowered his head. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt anyone. I was scared. I thought maybe you all cared more about my money than me, and I wanted to know the truth." Silence filled the room again. Then, slowly, Maya sat back down. "You should have trusted us," she said softly. Ethan shook his head. "Still a stupid plan." Liam crossed his arms. "I cried every night." Clara looked at her husband. "You're lucky we love you." Richard looked at each of them and said, "I know, and I'm sorry. From now on I promise to spend more time with you, real time, no more pretending. Maya gave a small smile. Okay, but no more lies. Ethan sighed. Fine, but you owe me an apology. And ice cream, Liam added. Clara kissed Richard's forehead. You're lucky to have us. Richard smiled. I know, and I won't take it for granted again. From that day on, things changed for Richard sold some of his companies, so he could work less. They traveled together, cooked dinner as a family, and played games on rainy nights. They still had money, but now they had something better: love, trust, and time together. And Richard finally understood the most important lesson of all: money can buy a house, but only love can make it a home. If you enjoy this videos, kindly like and share this video, as it will help my channel grow and encourage me to make more stories for you. Thanks for watching.